So for Scott, the focus on individual lived experience as the foundation or a theoretical understanding of society is basically a dead end. It's just not going to work. We need to focus on the underlying conceptual and discursive structures. And by extension, so if we had any hope that our theoretical understanding would help us lead to progressive change, well, that's not going to work out either. If we don't understand something like sexist oppression in the first place, our intentions of doing something about it and changing things for the better are also going to fail. What she thinks is, well, we would need to see those underlying structures as historical. You need to historicize them, she says. See them as historically variable. Things don't have to be that way. But that's where our attention needs to be, not on sort of the experience, which is kind of the byproduct of those things. However, there is more to it. It's not just that focus on experience isn't going to work out very well. She thinks it's actually going to make things worse, right? She thinks it's actually going to reinforce the very structures that we are concerned to change. She thinks that when we focus in that way, when we accord that kind of authority to lived experience, what we're inadvertently doing is kind of naturalizing, that's the opposite of historicize, we're naturalizing the subject positions of the individuals having that experience. In a sense, kind of locking them in. Right? To be naturalized means you think it's now immutable and not subject to historical change. So she thinks that's a really bad thing, to naturalize, or she also says like reify, it's kind of where you turn it into a thing with fixed immutable properties. She thinks that's the real problem here, actually, that doing this, having this focus on experience in this way, will just reinforce things. So if you think about it in terms of those binaries, just something as simple as man and woman, for example, she would say that the focus on women's experience just reinforces the category of women, those individual experiencers, just as women in that category. But that just means within that hierarchical structure, that's what's always being produced every time we rely on the lived experience of those individuals. I have to pause.